Good morning. Before we call the meeting to order, a couple of housekeeping items. If you're here and you'd like to address the trust, if you would please go outside and fill out the form requesting that. When your item comes up on the agenda, we will do that. There will also be a time at the end of the session for comments from the public. And then, if you have a cell phone, would you please disarm it at this time so that we don't have that to contend with as the meeting proceeds. With those being said, let's call to order the May 23rd, 2019 meeting of the Oklahoma City Airport Trust. And first on our agenda is to approve the minutes of the April 25th, 2019 Oklahoma City Airport Trust meeting. We have a motion. A second. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, please cast your votes. And it is approved. Next up is to approve the airport budget for fiscal year 2020.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. And before I ask you to approve the budget, I do have a brief presentation for you this morning. If you look at the fiscal year 2020 budget, we show the proposed budget at $141,340,000, and you can see that this is up from last year's budget, primarily a little over $6 million increase in the operating budget, and that's due to the police chargeback because we're asking for some new police service technicians and dispatchers for the airport police unit, and it also is due to the debt service payments we're making associated with the terminal expansion building. Also, the capital budget is increasing because of the terminal expansion project. When you look at the main sources of funds, and these are our major revenue categories, you see there's a total of airport charges from our main revenue categories of $63,603,000. Building rents are derived from lease payments for our buildings and hangars. Landing fees, we charge a calculated rate per 1,000 pounds of landed weight to our passenger airlines and our freight carriers. Parking revenues is associated with our public parking operation. Concessions revenues is a gross percentage we receive on the food and beverage and retail concessions in the terminal building, but also the rental car commissions from the rental car operation. On fuel sales, we get a rate per gallon for all aviation fuel that is retailed on our airports, and also from those leases that have self-fueling privileges. We have the $4.50 user fee associated with a customer facility charge. This is on a per transaction for rental cars. It pays for the debt service for the rental car center and also pays for the operations and maintenance and the buses. And then a variety of other airport charges from lease rental components such as maintenance reimbursements for facilities, ground rentals, and apron fees. There are other sources of funds as well, $13,801,000. We have oil and gas revenues. We use these revenues for our sponsor match for our federal grants for the FAA's Airport Improvement Program, a little bit of money from the interest we receive on our money market account. Passenger facility charges, this is the $4.50 on a per ticket user fee that you see, and this supports our capital program, and it's very instrumental in funding about 3/4 of our terminal expansion project. And then each year we have a variety of federal and state participation. This is in the form of grants, and these are for eligible airfield projects on our airports and certain types of eligible equipment. We have carryover also, which the majority comes from our project fund, which is used for our capital program, and this also includes the Mike Monroney escrow account, $35,546,000. And then revenue bond proceeds of $28,390,000. This is the portion of bond proceeds that is intended to be used on construction in FY20. So the total revenues, $77,404,000. The carryover and the bond proceeds comprises the budget. When you look at the uses of funds, we have total operating expenditures estimated to be $51,925,000. Other services and fees, this represents some of the major contracts we have at the airport, such as our public parking contract, the aircraft rescue and firefighting contract, supplemental security contract, and janitorial services. Commodities represents various services and supplies we use. The debt service requirements are from payments on prior financing of bond projects, such as the Garage C that we constructed a few years ago, the last 5-story garage, the rental car center, and the last terminal expansion project. And the transfer to the airport's cash fund, this is the department operating account. We have reserves, which are funds that are estimated to be received in 2020 that are going to be used on future capital. And then you can see a significant capital outlay of $86,999,000, primarily because of the terminal building. That balances the budget. We do have a few completed projects that we have rolled up into Will Rogers World Airport, Wiley Post Airport, and then we carve out Mike Monroney Aeronautical Center. A couple of noteworthy projects for Will Rogers. We did the Hangar 1 and 1C expansion project for the 2 hangars the Trust owns, and that allows our tenant to work on larger aircraft. We had Garage A waterproofing project you're aware of, and we'll also be completing the Garage Wayfinding project this year. At Wiley Post, we completed the General Aviation Maintenance Facility. Also, we are almost finished with all the airfield improvements. We have one more project out to bid now. But Wiley Post has just been completely overhauled, improving all the airfield pavements, runways, taxiways, airfield signage, and lighting. And then various building improvements at the Mike Monroney Aeronautical Center. Cover some of the ongoing new projects that are working, and of course you know about the terminal expansion project. This is the new East Concourse that we're starting with 4 gates, the new 8-lane security checkpoint, the larger meter and greeter lobbies we'll be creating, as well as increasing public circulation with new concessions, and estimating to spend almost $37 million this year on that project. It's going well. Terminal Drive is another project that we have out for bid right now. We'll be spending about $4.2 million on this project. Terminal Drive is a drive that's operated by the Airport Trust. It includes Terminal Drive inbound and outbound. It's a 3-phase project. The first phase is to do the inbound at Terminal Drive. I'll talk a little bit more about that. Phase 2 will be the intersection at Amelia Earhart and Terminal Drive, and then Phase 3 will be the outbound lane of Terminal Drive. I will tell you there will be some times during this project, probably several months of the project, where we will have Terminal Drive reduced to 1 lane. Look at the Terminal Drive Wayfinding signage project. I've talked to you about this. We've delayed this project somewhat because of the other major projects we've had at the terminal, but you can see the upper left picture that will show the new signage that we'll be creating. We're anticipating this project going out to bid later this summer. Station 2, we've talked about before. We also pulled this project back a couple of years ago because of the terminal expansion project starting, as well as all the issues we had with Garage A and the waterproofing. Station 2 is the first elevator and escalators that you get to when you exit the terminal building and the pedestrian tunnel. We'll be taking out those 2 escalators that you see there. They're just way too narrow for the bags that people use today. We'll be renovating the 2 elevators that we have existing, and we're going to install 2 new elevators, so we will have 4 elevators, and of course the stairs will stay. We have added to this project the 2 longest moving sidewalks to be replaced. That's walkways 18 and 25. We cannot get parts for them, so whenever those go down, they end up being down for several weeks while parts are being made. This is sort of a vicinity map that shows several of our projects. The one in yellow is what I want to concentrate on, but I thought this was a good view of Terminal Drive, and you can see the shaded areas where we will be doing the major work. If you look at lot number 1, that project is out to bid, and that'll be a 2-phase. These are resurfacing projects for both those sections of lot 1. And then you can also see where we're playing with some ideas on a new cell phone lot that's better intuitive for the passengers. It's going to be kind of like a rest area off of a highway where you kind of just pull right off and pull right on. We're trying to find the best location for that. The next slide actually shows a little bit more of the location of lot number 4. This is a new surface parking lot that will be just north of the canopy lot that we have, or north of the control tower. That gives you a better reference. We've done a feasibility study. There will be 800 spaces. We'll be pouring new concrete, and every space here will be covered because we know there's a propensity to want covered parking and protection, and the canopy lot has been very, very popular. This will be able to improve our capacity with our parking operation. It's also going to be used for when we have to do resurfacing projects and take levels of parking out of our garages, that we can displace our parkers so that they have somewhere to park as an alternative. And then the last ongoing project or new project will be just our last airfield project at Wiley Post, just continuing to work on pavements, taxiways, signage, and lighting. And then at Mike Monroney, we have various improvements that we make. the building improvements on trust-owned buildings, we're typically responsible for structural, exterior repairs, roofs, and pavements. And then on the infrastructure improvements, these are mainly our utility contracts on the campus we maintain with the electrical grid and the natural gas system. To look at the summary of ongoing capital projects, you see how we have it broke out per Will Rogers and Wiley Post and then Mike Maroney Aeronautical Center. You see the table, and you can see how the funds line out to get us our $86,999,000. Of course, the grants are the FAA and Oklahoma Aeronautics Commission grants we get for our airfield projects. You see the PFC revenues. This is really dedicated to the terminal building mainly. Tenant maintenance funds, these are those lease components that we have that pay for those structure and exterior and roofs and pavements, and it also includes the Mike Maroney Aeronautical account. We always have a significant amount of money from airport operations to support the capital program, and then we're working on an expansion for the rental car center for fleet storage, and we're anticipating using $239,000 of CFCs for that planning. If you look at the airport's cash fund, you can see, again, the department operating account rolls up to $20,011,000. We break this out by division. And then the next slide and last slide is the cash fund budget changes, an increase in insurance, benefits, and salaries of $382,000. Increase in city-provided services, these are our chargebacks, a little bit higher this year because, again, those positions we're asking for the airport police unit. We are asking for 3 new positions and adding an electrician. We only have 2 now for all of the facilities on our airports. We haven't added an electrician in 30 years. I think it's about time. And then we are asking for a federal planning specialist to help us in our grant compliance with all the reporting. There's just so much that the FAA and the state is wanting us to do in advancing timelines 3 years before a project. We actually have to start working on these projects federally. And then the training and safety specialists. We're a fairly large department with regard to the number of employees. A lot of larger departments have a position like this. We feel like now it's time for us to get one so that we can reduce our workers' comp and also get employees returned to work quicker. We believe this trust budget will accomplish our operational needs for our airports and achieve our capital needs going forward for the next year, and I ask your approval for the budget, sir.
Thank you for that presentation, Mark. Any questions or comments from the trustees? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the budget.
Approval.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? Please cast your votes. And it is approved. Director's report.
Thank you. I do have a couple of items, and it is related to air service. We've had some really good reports on our boarding passenger numbers, and we have another one. From January through April of this year, our numbers are 3.3% higher than the same time period last year. Now remember, that comes off the heels of a calendar year record of boarding passengers in 2017, and then a subsequent record in calendar year 2018. So it just keeps getting better, and I think that's a credit to everything that's going on in Oklahoma City and the confidence that the airlines have in our community and everything that's going on. My second comment, again, more good news. Since our last trust budget or trust meeting, American Airlines has announced that they will be serving Miami, Florida, beginning on December the 18th. And tickets, I believe, are on sale now. And that is a service that actually you can go and come back in one day. It departs very early in the morning and then gets back a little after midnight on the same day. So, good news.
And we still call that one day, huh?
Within 24 hours.
Glad to have it.
That completes the report, sir.
We don't need any action on that, correct? Moving right along then, Will Rogers World Airport.
So item A is to approve the professional services contract we have with Johnson & Associates. This is for the aircraft lavatory waste disposal facility. It's an amount of $19,000. Item B is approving amendment number 3 to our contract for professional services with ADG. This is for the terminal building upper level deck structural repairs. This is the last phase of that project. It's increasing their design contract, $677,618. Item C is approving change order 1 to our contract with ResTech. They're doing some tunnel repairs on the Mike Maroney campus and in an amount not to exceed $6,450.03 and increasing 30 days for the work. Item D is approving change order 1 to the contract with Downey Contracting. We're doing some repairs on the 4 exit stairs at the west concourse of Will Rogers Terminal, and this is actually a decrease of $6,052. Item E is approving change order 2 to the contract with Timberlake Construction. This is for the terminal renovation and expansion phase 3 project, increase of $380,505.68 in 18 days to do the work. Item F is change order 4 with our contract with Wind Construction Company. This is for the Hangar 1 air handling unit replacement, increase of $2,700.93. G is adopting the resolution approving a sole source system support agreement with INFAX. INFAX maintains and supports all of the airport flight information display systems. It's an amount of $113,139. And last, item H is to adopt a resolution declaring an emergency, waiving competitive bidding, and allowing the director to do what's necessary to determine the parts and facilities services necessary so that we can continue to keep our aircraft lavatory waste disposal facility working. It's in a not to exceed $200,000, and I will later come back to the trust and report on our efforts. Those are the items under Will Rogers, please.
You've heard the items under Will Rogers. What's the desires of the trust? We have a motion to approve and a second. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, please cast your votes. And it is approved. Wiley Post Airport.
Only one item, Mr. Chairman. Just ask you to approve the final acceptance for that project. We completed the general aviation field maintenance facility with AC1.
Move approval.
We have a motion to approve the one item and a second. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, please cast your votes. And it is approved. General.
Item A is to receive the delinquent accounts receivable report, the construction project report, and the budget to actual report as of April 30th. B is ratifying the action of the director and approve Addendum 1. This is for our paving repairs and maintenance contract. We received the recommendation on the bids open on May 1st, awarding the contract to Rudy Construction for 1 year or not to exceed $400,000, approving contract and bonds. Item C is ratify the action of the director and approve Addendum 1 for the utility repairs and maintenance contract. Received the recommendation of the bids open on April 24th and awarding the contract to Southeast Plumbing and Backhoe Incorporated for 1 year or not to exceed $300,000, approving contract and bonds. Item D is approving the fiscal year 20 agreement for consultant design services with the City of Oklahoma City. Item E is adopting the resolution for an open market purchase for a Canon OSA plotter from Canon Solutions America. It's an estimated amount of $23,813 and approve the 5-year maintenance agreement. Those are the items under general.
You've heard the items under general. We have a motion to approve. And a second. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, please cast your votes. And items under general are approved. Lease and other agreements.
Several leases and agreements this morning. The first one is to approve supplement number 3 with Upward Transitions, which is our Travelers Aid group that are just great ambassadors to our airport. They have about 65,000 hours a year that they serve voluntarily at the airport, and about 87,000 contacts with the public a year. So we're approving their budget, and we deeply appreciate their assistance. Couldn't do it without them. Item B is approve the assignment and assumption agreement with several lessees for a hangar at Wiley Post Airport, and this is all related to Bank 7 is transferring its rights, titles, and interests and obligations to 7-Eleven Holdings. This is beginning on June 4th. Item C is also related to that item. It's the same lessees. We're approving the supplement number 1 to the hangar office lease agreement, again with that same group. Item D is approved supplement number 1 to the lease and operations agreement with Private Jets Incorporated starting on June 4th. Item E, approve the professional services agreement with DKMG Consulting, LLC for aviation management consulting services, not to exceed $300,000 annually. F is to approve the agreement with professional consultant services for public art projects. This is with the City of Oklahoma City as they help us with our terminal expansion project. Item G is approving the financial work plan with the U.S. Department of Agriculture. This is the Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, Wildlife Services. As you know, for many years we've employed 2 wildlife biologists to help us in our wildlife management program for all 3 airports. Item H is approve the supplement number 4 to our management services agreement for our airport public parking facilities and also our airport shuttle bus operations between the Trust and ABM Aviation Incorporated. This also revises the new parking rate schedule in the agreement and also the ABM parking services salary and hourly wages, and we're approving the annual budget for the next year. Item I is approving the annual budget for the management agreement between the Airport Trust and Protect Fire Services. This is for the period commencing July 1 through June 30, 2020. Item J is approving the non-surface use paid-up oil and gas lease and side letter agreement with Paloma Partners 4 LLC. That's at Clarence E. Page Airport. Item K is approving the assignment and assumption agreement for a PWAT hangar at Wiley Post Airport at Unit 2001 from Bowie Kettner LLC to Thomas A. Hennebrey. L is approving the supplement 3 with ISS Facility Services. They do our janitorial services to amend their contractor responsibilities. They're going to be cleaning the new general aviation maintenance facility, and that has added some square footage, so we're increasing that compensation. And item M, last, is approve the ground services agreement with Hampton Inn and Suites of Oklahoma City Airport LLC for ground service transportation services at Will Rogers. Those are all the items under leases and agreements.
Thank you, sir. You've heard the items under lease and other agreements. We have a motion to approve. And a second. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, please cast your votes. And it is so done. Next up, sir.
Item 9 is to adopt the resolution ratifying the directors in approving all the requisitions that we do each month.
We have a motion to approve. And a second. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, please cast your votes. And it is approved.
And Mr. Chairman, for item number 10, we do not need to enter into executive session, but we are asking that you adopt the resolution authorizing us to declare the outstanding account receivable debt in the amount of $70,194.34 with VA Airlines as uncollectible.
Okay, we need a motion and a second, correct, Miss, or not on that?
Yes, on the resolution.
On the resolution to declare it uncollectible,
Move approval.
we have a motion to approve. And a second. Any comments or questions? Please cast your votes. And it is so done.
But, Mr. Chairman, for item 11, we do need to enter into executive session. Request approval to do that.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session. And a second. Any comments or questions? Please cast your votes. And we'll move into executive session. We shall return shortly. We have returned from executive session, and the action before us now is to decide whether we want to approve the settlement agreement and mutual release with the City of Bethany over the case that we've been involved with.
Move approval of the settlement agreement.
We have a motion to approve the settlement agreement. Second. And a second. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, please cast your votes. And it is approved. Next on our agenda is comments from trustees. Any comments from the trustees? Seeing none. Staff? Again, seeing none. Any citizen wishing to be heard on any item? Again, seeing none. Thank you for your attentiveness. We are adjourned.